This is the BGG Climbers list for the week ending 4/6/2022. This list is put together every week by Michael Alexander. I'll include links in the description below if you want to take a look at it. Sorry for the raspy voice this week. It's oak season here, and it makes my voice a little bit scratchy. We'll start with the stuff below the top 10 real quickly, since there's a lot of interesting stuff happening there. We have Great Western Trail 2nd Edition, rocketing up the charts as expected. I don't see how this doesn't end up in the top 100, and it will eventually displace, first edition. I do. Vagrant Song continues to do really well. It still only has 205 ratings, but it's a very intriguing game from a artistic perspective, and the reviews have been really solid, especially from Tom Vassell. So I really want to check this out this year if I can, assuming there's more availability. We also have Isle of Cats Drawn Explore. So this is, I assume, a roll and write or a draw and write, and it's doing pretty solid for starting out. I do think that these tend to typically do a little bit worse than the average game, and probably isn't going to go in the top 100, but it does look like a at least initial solid showing from this game. Radlands continues to do extremely well. It's trailed off a little bit in terms of number of ratings, but I do think this is a highly likely game to end up in the top 100. 40 at 438,000 ratings. And we have Libertalia. So we've seen this for a number of weeks. Now this week it jumped back up with a good number of ratings and actually above 7, almost by 8 or above 8. I still think this is not going to get in the top 100, but it's probably going to land in the 300 to 100 range. So number 10 is Feed the Kraken. So I don't think we've seen this on the list before. Let's take a quick look at it. Social Deduction, Loyal Sailors, Ruthless Pirates, and the Kraken. I don't recognize any of these names on here. Hidden Roll Deduction game, 3 asymmetric factions. Okay, so you're in a boat. Got some cool production quality in terms for a social deduction game. I guess that's maybe its selling point is the theme, which makes sense from a social deduction game. I think having a good theme is going to bring more people into the game. Actually, some pretty nice artwork too for pirates. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Sailor's favorite deduction game. Maybe the only pirate themed one. I don't know. Not likely to end up in the top 100. I mean, there have been a few deduction games that end up there, but I think this one's gonna land below it. And I'm not actually a big social deduction person gamer. So number 9 is Creature Comforts. We looked at this before. It's kind of a lighter weight game. It's got some really nice art and production. I think that's it's actually, it looks like it has some solid gameplay behind it. I haven't played it, but it's probably not heading into the top 100 as it's a lighter weight. Most of those don't end up. So it's number 9, Creature Comforts. Number 8, Dodo's Riding Dinos. So I remember this on Kickstarter, if I recall correctly. Yeah, Kickstarter. Yep. And so this one looked like kind of a unique racing game. Obviously, pretty lightweight. That's why I didn't back it. But it seems like it turned out really nice with the little minis, and that's definitely cool. Some nice paint jobs on these. Actually, really like the pink Stegosaurus. I mean, it's a lightweight racing game. It looks like it has some dexterity elements to it, and it's probably not much there. I think the fun part is the theme, and I think the people that really like the theme and the production and like these later games are going to enjoy it. It's probably not going to go again for the same reason as the last one. Just not heavy enough to end up in. That's number 8, Dodo's Riding Dinos. Number 7, Medara. So this one we haven't actually seen in quite a while, and it got a big uptick in votes this week. I don't actually know why. No comments here, and I didn't really research it. Maybe a new delivery of it made it out finally. It does seem to have wider availability now. I think you can order it off the website, or at least order for the next uh, production off the website. I think some local retailers even have it, and that I think is going to eventually propel it into the top 100. I think it's going to take a while to get there. Maybe it'll even be after the second and third acts are released before it manages to make it all the way into the top 100. But the ratings are extremely strong on this one. I don't think it's going to be a contender for number one game just because it hasn't had a wide enough release. I mean, to get to number one, you got to have a massive release. I mean, you're looking at like 40,000 ratings probably PGG, which is I don't know, maybe 100, maybe 200,000 copies minimum sold to get 40,000 ratings, probably even more than that. But for a heavier game, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people use it. This is a game that I haven't had a chance to play yet. I do want to get it to the table, and hopefully that's going to happen at least for a few games. So it's number 7, Medara, Act 1. Number 6 is Longshot the Dice Game. So this is obviously being propelled up by its recent Shut Up and Sit Down review, and it boosted a good amount. I think it's going to come back down and probably, like most roll and writes, land outside. Or this isn't a roll. It's kind of a roll and write. Going to land outside the top one. That's number 6. Number 5 is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. So this, I originally thought was going to have a really good chance of getting to number 1. It's not going to, I don't think. It's come down a few, a few points to get average of 8.65, which I think is going to land below Gloomhaven. I do think it's going to end up in the top, probably top 2, maybe top 3. It may end up stopping out at third place. So this displaced Terraforming Mars. So I also have the feeling once we get Frosthaven, we're going to have 3 Gloomhaven games in the top 3 or 4 places. So this is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Number 4 is Bardstone. So I looked at this game earlier this week when I started to see it trending. Yes, it was a Kickstarter. Yeah, Kickstarter. And I'm assuming it just got delivered. Now, it has a I guess a core game that you can buy, so it's pretty expensive. Now, the game itself, I think the main selling point is that no two games are alike because it uses a procedurally generated dungeon, which is interesting for people that really want to replay the same dungeon crawl mechanisms over and over again. For me, just because I play so many different, I want to play new games, and I don't think this is the game for me. But it does look like a big game. The art from it looks well done. I think it's for the target audience, it's probably going to be an amazing game. I don't know if after the retail release we're going to see enough pickup of this to end up in the top 100. We'll wait a few weeks and see how many reviews show up. That's Bardstone, number 4. Number 3 is Dead Reckoning. So I was holding off on this one. I think the only thing at this point, I mean, we're already up to 600 ratings with a 8.58 new, 8.52 average. So that's really high even after 600 ratings. I think this game is getting a lot of positive reviews in terms of individual players. I don't know if there's a retail edition of this. I don't think there's planned on being one, but maybe, or maybe there'll be a new Kickstarter. I think if that happens, this will probably end up in the top. This is number 3, Dead Reckoning. Number 2, Arc Nova. So this is skyrocketing up the list to the point where it's not going to number 1. I mean, you can already see the rating is going to fall below Gloomhaven, but it is going to be in the top 10. And I get the feeling it may even be there probably before the end of this year. So clearly a lot of people really like the game. For me, I think as I mentioned before, the things that Shut Up and Sit Down kind of that might be issues are probably going to be issues for me and my group. But I do hope to play this at BGCon in the fall. This is Arc Nova, number 2. And number one, Return to the Dark Tower. So this is doing extremely well. I think we need to wait and see if there's going to be a retail release or if there's enough copies of it. But if there are, I think that this game has a really good chance of ending up top as well. So maybe 2022, or I don't know if this is a sign 2021, but that year of games may end up having a bunch of huge releases. Kind of like, I think it was like 2016. There was an enormous amount of amazing in that. So there you have it. That is the BGG Climbers list for the week ending 4/6/2022. If you like this video, please like and please subscribe. And please take a look at our other videos. Thank you.